Glenn Frey's brother Alan looks back at the early days of the Eagles. I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Music. A few months ago, Alan had contacted me after he saw my interview with Randy Meisner on this very channel, the ex-Eagle who left in 1977. He also wanted to thank me for being fair when reporting on the Eagles, which is something that doesn't always happen when it comes to the Eagles. There are a lot of editorial guys out there with wild conspiracy theories and a lot of hatred towards the Eagles, and some hatred because they're still going on. Some folks saying they're greedy when, well, the fans are still showing up for the concerts. So through the months, I've gotten to know Alan a little bit, and one day I just said, why don't we do an interview? Why don't you give your perspective of having an older brother who became a rock star? I think a lot of fans would be truly interested. And he just said, sure. So on our first parter, I asked him about the stardom of Bob Seger being there in the early days, for Glenn Frey giving him his first big start, him playing with J.D. Souther in the early days, the Eagles' early hits, and the excitement of being in L.A. with his older brother when everything happened.
We're 6 years. It's 7 years chronologically, but I was born in October and he was born in November. So
being 6 years older than you and quite a bit older than your younger brother, Matt, I would take it he was the first person to learn an instrument.
Yeah, he played piano down in the basement. We had an upright piano downstairs, and he took lessons. He was really young, 7 years old till 10 or 12. And my mom used to go down there and practice with him and make him do his studies.
Going back to the beginning before the Eagles, do you remember Glenn associating with Bob Seger and doing, for instance, so many people mention this, him being on Ramblin' Gamblin' Man by Bob?
We went up to the Palladium and saw Bob Seger one night. I was a little guy. I could have been 14, 15 years old. And Glenn piled me in the car, and we went and saw Bob Seger. I didn't think a whole lot about it, although he had a couple of bands that were practicing in our basement and out in our garage. And, I thought they were pretty good, and I was getting into it. But, there's no way I could have foreseen the success that the Eagles had. He piled up in a van with three other guys from Michigan and the 66 Econoline, old blue thing, and they drove to Los Angeles. The other three guys came back, and Glenn stayed. And within a year or so, 2 years, he had a Long Branch Penny Whistle album with John David Souther. And a year after that, I got to go out to L.A. for 2 summers, sophomore and junior year.
Okay, Alan, paint me a picture of all this. I'm really curious. Okay, your brother's becoming a rock star, so you're going out to L.A. I mean, were you green? Were you wide-eyed walking into this?
Oh, I was hugely wide-eyed. We were hanging out in Asylum Records, and I thank David Geffen for opening up his offices to a bunch of young kids. And we used to go up and rummage through the picture room and the album room and pretty much take what we want. And Joni Mitchell was there, and Linda Ronstadt, and all the Eagles were there, and Crosby, Stills and Nash were coming in and out, and Jackson Browne and John David Souther, David Blue, all the people that Geffen was connected with at Asylum Records. And we'd go down there on a daily basis and just hang out in the record office and talk and party and go across the street to the Hamburger Hamlet and have a little lunch. And it was pretty much an everyday occurrence. We got a chance to hang out with the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, which was a bunch of cool guys. And, when I got back to Detroit, I was about as much of a misfit as you could possibly define. Financially discontent, career-wise discontent, geographically discontent. I didn't know what I wanted to do because I knew the coolest thing in the world was happening in Los Angeles, but it was 2,500 miles away from me. And just getting a glimpse made me discontent for, 15 years at least.
There was such a vibe in the 70s with Asylum and Warner Brothers, where there were prestige artists on there. They were cool acts to have on the label, but they didn't necessarily sell as well as a band like the Eagles, but they were cool to have on there.
Yeah, America was hanging around, too. They lived right up the street from Glenn. Unbelievable, the amount of people. That whole Laurel Canyon family tree was just incredible. Glenn Frey died on January 18th, 2016. He was only 67. We'll have part 2 of our exclusive interview with Alan Frey, Glenn Frey's younger brother, coming up next Thursday.
And also look for our exclusive Randy Meisner interview. I had a chance to talk to Randy a few years ago, and we talked for like an hour and a half. And there's lots of clips of Randy talking about his days with the Eagles. So check that out. We'll have a link in the description of this video. I'm John Beaudin. Make sure you comment on our videos, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. This is Rock History Music.